How do? Right, I'm having a little break from the dangly bell bracket because I've run out of gas. So today I'm going to have a mess on with my sort of scrap metal anime sword. Something I had done off camera is just weld those on, which I'd cut off from there. What I'm going to do is just grind in a fuller and then just see if I can get an edge on. I've got this, which I can't really do much else with unless I use oxyacetylene. That's going to get welded on there. Then I've got something else to go on to become the handle. It might even have been that bit, I don't know. That's going to go on there, and then we're going to invent a pommel. And I've also got the hilt to do, but I've got those bits. So I'm going to have this basically to use as a ruler, which I'll clamp down, and it'll more or less, once it's clamped down, then I'll just sort of somehow grind the edge in. I think I might have to put the guard around the other somehow so I can match it all up, you know what I mean. So yeah, let's see how that goes. Right, what I did was decided that one stick wasn't enough, so I've got two, clamped them in place. I've done a little test grind, as you can see there, so that's mostly in the middle. So I've done that with a blunt or a dull flat wheel. So I've just burnt your leg on the stove, damn it, heater. Right, after I've put the fire out on my leg, actually, yeah, that's really hot. Right, don't stand too close to the heater, kids. Yeah, fresh flat wheel, come down, get the fuller in, flip it over, do the same faff again, getting it all set up, and then yeah, see what that looks like, and I'll just get into the groove, as Madonna said in her metalworking days. Right, let's see what we do an action shot of me changing the flap wheel. Right, that was some Formula 1 changing speed there. Right, I've turned the heater down once, so I don't set fire to my leg. So, right, I'll speak to you in a minute. Yeah, that's going to take forever like that, so I think I need a more aggressive wheel. So, something like that. Can you see? Yeah, there's not much of a difference there, like. Let's see what this does. Right. Well, it's not an exact science. I wonder if I just need to nip these up a little bit because there was a bit of movement. But that's not going to be very exciting. So I'll knock these off for now, and then I'll see you in probably half an hour. Right, I think that was about a half an hour there. Well, I'll tell you what, if I just pick it up. That was not fun. I think, yeah, in between burning my fingertips, I might have getting about a millimetre there if I'm lucky. Yeah, that's a tad warm, so there's a fair bit came off that. So I think I at least want it to be, you know, noticeable, even though this is just going to be just sitting around not doing much. I'm not putting all that effort in to say, well, your sword hasn't got a fuller on it. So yeah, I think I'll do a little bit more. Then I'll turn it over and spend bloody ages doing that as well, and then see what it looks like. So just to make a point, it's a fuller, not a blood groove. Anybody else who says it's a blood groove is an idiot. So there. Right, let's keep grinding. Right, I think that's been another hour. I managed to almost bury the anvil. So I've got fuller number 2 done. Not quite perfect, I just need to tidy up that side a little bit. But I went offline a bit, so it was wonky, so I've actually graduated that side a bit more just to level it up. But God, I'm knackered, I've got a headache. I think I'm probably going to get a tendonitis in the elbow as well. So right, so there's that. think what I'm going to do is, I think I'll just start putting an edge on down there just to see what that looks like, and then see how many days it's going to take to do edges on the long bits. So, and then in between I'll do bits of, that's still hot, tidying up. Yeah, hard work. The next time I do a fuller, I'm going to make sure I've got plenty gas, or I'll fire up the big forge, and I'm going to use the fly press and do it properly, because God, this just takes your will to live away. So right, I'll stick a edge on the end and then see what that looks like. Right, well, that was a doddle compared to doing the fuller. So yeah, it's, you know, it's got like a safety edge on, but you know, it's only mild steel, and it's not like I'm going into combat with it. But at the same time, you wouldn't want somebody to stick it in your shin. So I'm gonna do the edges there, and then see what it looks like, and then probably in between I'll still have a little bit. That's still hot still. Well, I don't know why I keep doing that, but I'll have a tidy up again of the fuller, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, right, that's done. What I did, I decided to sort of, I was going to have that all smooth, but if you just put all the grind marks back in, it kind of looks like a poor man's sort of pattern welded bit. So I've done pattern grinding. There you go, there's a new technique I've invented. I don't have to put much of an edge on because it's only mild steel, but that's on. Clean these bits up a little bit, and then what I've done, I've opened this bit up because this fits on like that, and then when I get some gas in the morning and get that forged, flattened down, that's going to be welded on. I've decided we're actually going to get a bigger bit of pipe that's going to fit there, but not today. I'll put it down there for now. So it's going to come out so big, and then I need something to make a pommel. I'll show you where I'm going to make the guard with, quillins, whatever you call them. Then I think what I'll do is, I've got to glue it somewhere a bit, and then I'll give it a coat of lacquer. Then I'll see if I can chop a log with it, and then I'll stand it up by the fireplace or something like that, in case I have any visitors who I don't want. So right, I'm gonna go and have some painkillers now and some anti-inflammatories for the tendinitis that's starting in my elbow. I'll see you in the morning when I have a fresh bottle of gas. Right, see you in the morning. Right, it's tomorrow now. Got me nice new full bottle of gas, so forge is on. So this bit is gonna, ow, found a sharp bit. This bit's going in there to get flattened down so it'll fit in place properly, and then I can shove that in without burning my fingers off too much. Where's me pokey stick? Right, you can go in there for a bit. Then today's job, start getting this bit cleaned up. And what I might do, I think the roof's managed to find a new leak down there, so up there somewhere, I think I'll have to get some of me roof paint, patch up a bit on the inside, but looks like bits of moss and crap of sort of pooling up there, so it's overflowing somehow. Maybe it's lots of places. Yeah, didn't want a watertight roof anyway. Anyway, bollocks to that. I'm doing fun stuff at the minute. So, right, clean this bit up, ready for welding. And then fit that bit in a minute. Right, there's that welded on. Looking not so bad. Both sides. I'll still tidy the weld up a bit. I'll grind it down so it just looks a bit more, well, I don't know, smooth. I've got what's going to be the handle grip in the forge now, so what I'm going to have to do is sort of fine tune. I think, yeah, that's hot actually. Yeah, that looks fairly level. Yeah, I meant to do that. So yeah, I'll get that prepped ready. So I'm just getting it to shape on the fly press, just to make it just so it, you know, fits in your hand a bit better. Yeah, that's hot. I'm going to put the maker's mark there, I think. So it's going to be interesting shoving something this size in the forge. But hey, life's an adventure. Right, I'll give you an update in a minute. Right, I've just got that there, just so I can keep the handle in the right place. Come on, darn it. And I can shove that out of the way and tink. Yeah, I'll get another one. And knock it over. It's impressive how that bird shit survived being in the forge. I wonder what that pigeon had been eating. What's that looking like? That's a bit better. I think I'll do a little bit more. A bit more. What does that look like? That's not bad. Just want to straighten it up a bit. Tiny bit more. Right, I'll stick the other end in. Right, let's do the other end. Leveling out a bit. That's not too far off. There's a little tweak there. Rain's getting heavier. Mostly there. Right, I'll let that. So I want to let it cool off a bit. I'll see if I can tweak it a bit more, because it's a bit iffy in the middle. Right, that's not so bad. Right, I'll let that cool off a bit. Yeah, that's some tough shit, that is. Right, I'll make sure my head stays out of the way so the fly press doesn't knock us out. Right, let's do a test fit, see what it looks like. And does it fit? Does it shite? Right, I'll make it a bit rounder at that end, and aye. Right, hold on a minute. Right, let's try again. It helps if you point in the right direction. There you go. That's exactly how I wanted it, so we'll just ignore that last bit which I didn't actually film. So I just need to get that, well, straightened up, all in. I don't know how straight that is, but we'll get it right when it's ready to weld. Right, I'll put you there for a minute. And then I was still wondering what to do for the pommel. And then I've got a few little bits of random weights. I wasn't sure whether these were cast or not, so I actually did a little test weld. I think it stayed on. So then I thought, if that's the case, what have I knocked on the floor? Hold on. If I put that on like that, then that's going to be different. So I don't know if I'll just leave it looking exactly like a little weight or not, but I'll figure something out as I go. But yeah, does the job. Right, let's get that. Actually, do I want a bit? Yes, I do. I don't know, because I still need to get me next bits done as well. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing next. I'm just gonna do it. Right, decided to put Maker's Mark on. So, what's on the right there? Right, I'm gonna see if I can set this up so I can actually show it. see if I can find a spot where the foam won't fall off. Hold on. Right, hopefully this will work. Right, yeah, that's water. Out there. Extremely hot. Right, I'll wire brush it down, see what it looks like. Looks alright. Yeah, that's very hot. That's, well, okay. It's not like this is going to be a museum masterpiece, but aye. Right, while that's cooling down a bit, I'm going to see about fitting the tilt on. Right then, I've got that, what was that? I've got that reasonably okay, so these are what I'm going to be using to do the hilt, like so. So yeah, that's just gonna, I'm just gonna grind out a little bit so I can get it relatively, helps if you point the right direction, relatively flush with there, but still weld around and then tidy it up. So they're gonna fit like that. But instead of just leaving it like your hexagon, I'm going to weld a little cap over the end, and I'll show you that in a minute. So, I've also decided that I'm going to grind a bit of that down both sides, but I'm also going to do something else to jazz it up a bit so it doesn't look like a typical little weight. So, but I'll show you that bit in a minute as well. So right, I'm going to clean them up and stick the ends on, and then I'm going to show you what I've done. Right, cleaned up, ready for welding, and da-ding. Right, let's get them welded on and then see what it looks like. Right, so that's welded on there. I'm still going to tidy that up more because, well, I'm not happy with it. So the maker's mark's just barely surviving, but it just looks rustic. I might put it on somewhere else, maybe it's the pommel. In fact, no, I'm not putting it on the pommel because I've thought of a cool thing. In fact, I thought something else where I could still fit the maker's mark on the pommel, but I'm not going to show you that yet. So I've got them on, doing that. So that's starting to look a bit more swordy. Shame it's just milestone because it scratches dead easy. Never mind. Right. I've ground that off and I've had some threaded bar. So what I'm going to do is just weld them on like that. 2 lots of 4s, so there should be 8. I didn't I? And then I'm going to do smaller bits in there, and I'm going for a Conan the Barbarian Wheel of Pain emblem sort of vibe, but a bit more basic. So yeah, right, I'll weld that on and then I'll show you what that looks like. Right, a bit more progress today. I was planning on leaving up like a hollow pommel, but there, got to have me mark on somewhere. So right, if I could be bothered I would keep grinding and make everything exact, but I'm getting a bit tired now, so I might come back to it, I don't know. But I'm going to get this welded on and then do a show off, and then go and put my feet up if they'll fit. Giggity. Right, let's get welding again. Right then, after spending more time than I planned to on it, here's the big reveal. So there you go, there's the end. So hopefully the colours are showing up. So I've managed to get a bit of straw colour in the fuller, which isn't a blood groove. A few more colours. That's actually, it's, yeah, I can just about touch it now. So pretty skull. Another pretty skull. Then coming up to the shaft, giggity, up to the end. There's me pommel, which has got me Conan the Barbarian Wheel of Pain vibe, which I've managed to jazz up, and even managed to get me Maker's Mark in, which I'm quite happy at. It's also on the other side, which, hang on, I'll stick it on pause and I'll turn it over, see if I can do it without burning my hands. Yeah, I've just remembered some of the lacquer's still wet, so is this, yeah, that's still too hot. So there you go, some colours, and same pretty skulls but the other way around. Pretty colours on there, and pretty colours there as well. So I'm going to wait for it to cool down a bit more, and I'm going to give it a couple of coats of lacquer, and then that'll be that. And then I'll get some pretty photos which I'll stick on Instagram. But, yeah, that's turned out alright. Right, job done. I think I'll take some show off photos and have me tea. See you in a bit.